Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So I've been gone for a few days and that's because I was helping my pregnant wife who really needed to get some rest and sleep, and today I've had a 12-hour workday, came home, did dishes, took out the trash, helped my wife again. That's your reward after a 12-hour workday, and I'm here making a video because the market has totally crapped the bed. And I think you guys maybe want to know my thoughts about this. My portfolio was down a crazy $38,000 today. Let me know in the comments, how much was your portfolio down? The only thing that was green today, funny enough, when you look at this list, is Enphase. I don't know what the heck happened to Enphase, but everything else, and SQQ, which is the inverse triple leveraged QQQ. Everything else, this is a Swedish stock, crude oil is up a little bit, and Bitcoin. But yeah, this was one of the most brutal days on the market. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Please make sure that you're subscribed. And I want to thank the channel members. I haven't checked, but I think we're up to 17 channel members. You guys really help me make content, so thank you so much. And if you find value in this content, please consider joining. So Palantir, well, the thing with Palantir and the market, to be honest, is that we have been running for a very, very long time, and I think people just needed an excuse to sell and take profits, and the market needed a very healthy pullback. So Palantir has been running basically since May, the end of May, and we ran from almost 20 to almost 30. That is an almost 50% run in pretty much one go, except for this very, very small correction. I am really, really looking forward to selling a longer dated covered call on Palantir, probably a December covered call with a $40 strike price. I just really want to know what happens on earnings, because Palantir is a how do you call it? It's like a cat in a black bag. You don't know what is going to come out, and all I know is everybody, including your grandmother, knows that the growth is accelerating on Palantir. The question is just by how much. And the thing is, depending on that number, how much the growth is accelerating, Palantir could be insanely overvalued at 2026, or it can be insanely undervalued. So before I do anything, I want to wait for the earnings call. I do suspect that they are going to have very, very good earnings. So I'm just sitting tight. And again, this pullback, whatever happened, it's a very, very healthy pullback. We pulled back to a previous resistance. We had a quite hard time to go over this 26-27 line. Also in the past, let me just make my head smaller. So also in the past, you can see that this line has was a resistance to the stock, the 2660, and yet again it was a resistance. And if it is a support, so we're going to have quite a few red days here, then we are probably going to continue this trend and just go higher. It all depends on the earnings. Now, Rocket Lab, this one is very, very interesting. The same story. We had a huge run, very few red days in between. So this was a completely healthy. I mean, look at this run. We had a 5% day, and then this is a 2% day, and then almost 4% day, followed up by a 6% day. I mean, this was just a rip your face off rally. Rocket Lab is pretty much the same. I'm also looking to sell long-term call options, probably up to December. I think that there's a chance that after earnings and the hot fire test, the stock might go to $7-8. There's also a little bit of risk because I don't know what they're going to report. There could be delays with Neutron. It could be that we don't get the hot fire. I'm pretty sure that the hot fire is coming any second. and they have been tweeting about different parts of Neutron getting ready. I was actually thinking about it today. It's so exciting that we get to watch a rocket develop almost in real time. Like they are posting about, we always want more as investors, right? But if you think about it, it's almost real time. We get to see how they're building out the infrastructure. We get to see how they're making the different parts. We get to see the different tests that they're running on the test stand at Stennis. So it's very, very cool how it's happening. Of course, I want it to happen faster. I think anybody, including Peter Beck, wants it to happen faster. And of course, I wish we would know more. But if you look at other companies, they are being very, very, very transparent with their progress. However, in this next report, the past quarter is going to be amazing. This we know. So the first $100 million quarter, record amount of launches. It's not like we're matching the previous record, right? It was 4 in Q1 and it's going to be 4 in Q2. The question is, how do we stack up with launches in Q3? And previously we were going to do 3 launches in Q3, but there was a lot of launch delays. There was already one customer who asked to get a later launch date. So we already lost one launch. That one makes me worried that launch revenue might be down in this quarter. Space Systems should be doing amazing. And obviously everything depends on the Neutron development. And on the hot fire, I know a lot of people are asking, is the hot fire, how do I think is going to, how the stock is going to react to it. And it's really a huge question mark. Normally, Wall Street likes to front run things. So, for example, when we know that there is going to be rate cuts coming in 3 months, usually the market starts rally to price in the rate cuts that are going to happen in the future. And this is how you can get this, buy the rumor, sell the news, that in anticipation of certain news, the stock price goes up. And then when the news comes out, people sort of like take profits because there's no more upside left. So with that said, I still don't know what is going to happen because the hot fire test in itself doesn't mean anything. But we know that once the hot fire test is successful and is done, it means that, certain things are validated, the production lines are set up, because remember that Rocket Lab, the way they're developing this rocket is very productionalized, so that they already have the next set of engines running off the production lines. And, it's really not an MVP or, like everything handmade together, put on the stand. It's really like the actual machines from the production lines that are going to make all the next future Neutrons. Those are the ones that are making this one. And the hot fire test validates this. So it puts a lot of cap on, certain R&D costs. We know that it also puts you start to get a timeline into when Neutron is going to fly. And this was indicated to be during the second half during the half of 2025. And that gets sort of cemented, right? Then we know that they haven't been signing Neutron contracts because they don't want to give discounts and they want to only sell contracts when the timeline is very certain and they can really promise customers that they will be there with the rocket when the customers are there with the product. So the Neutron contracts that they would sell, those would really, really move the stock. But they are not selling the contracts yet. We just know that if the hot fire test is done, then they will be selling the contracts. So I think that there's a small chance, but the thing is that you have to know how Wall Street thinks. And on the last earnings calls, they're always asking, how do you know that there is demand for Neutron? How do you know that this is going to sell well? Can you prove to us, why aren't you selling contracts? So if you would put a gun to my head and I would have to bet, I think the hot fire test is going to have a very muted response from the market. I hope I'm wrong. And we should be soon expecting some major contract announcements. and those would really move the stock, and at which point I would really like to sell some long dated covered calls on Rocket Lab. So just to reiterate, this pullback I think is completely healthy. On both companies, we really need this earnings report to see where we stand and where the stock is going to go. We bought this for the long term, and you know, these red days happen. If anything, you should be adding to your position on these red days and not be scared. Let me know in the comments how much money you lost. And I'm happy that this pullback is happening because I like when the stocks are going up, but it felt like we can't be like, you know, this amount of rally is completely unsustainable. So we needed to take a breather. Same on Palantir. Like, this rally was a complete monster rally. We needed to rest. So anyways, let me know, guys, what you thought about this video. If you felt you got value out of this, please consider joining the channel. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.